Hi everybody, this is Crystal. Welcome to my channel, Bagoday Crochet, where we talk about anything that is yarn and crochet related. Now today we're going to be talking about some crochet. So I'm going to show you how to make a hat and a scarf set. I also have many other hat and scarf sets and many other tutorials. I have over 1,000 crochet tutorials on my channel. If you look in the description box, the very first link, you can click on that and it'll show you all of them. I have anything that you could ever want to make and multiples of them. So please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like if you enjoy. All right, so this hat is not hard to do. It's made with front post double crochets, and then right here we are working single crochet and double crochets, and then we have more front post doubles, and then we do that brick of single crochet and double crochets again, and then a section of front post doubles. So why don't we go ahead and take a measurement of it. So this hat is about 8.5 inches long, and it will fit anywhere between, I'd say, 19 to 23 inch hat. It has a nice stretch on it. I think it turned out really cool. I like it. I will show you how to make the matching scarf as well. I did not do the scarf because I won't wear it, but I will show you how to make it back and forth the same pattern. That way you can make a matching scarf as long as you want it to be. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set this to the side here, and I'll show you what yarn I used. So for this, if I can grab it here, this particular project, I use loops and threads. So this is a Michaels brand, Impeccable, and this is their tweed variety. The color I'm using is called Gray Tweed. Now it is a medium weight number 4, 97 acrylic, 3% other. The other is the flex that you see. So you don't have to use this yarn. Any medium weight number 4 yarn that you have will work. Any Red Heart, Lion Brand, loops and different loops and threads, Karen, anything that you have, as long as it's a medium weight number 4. So for the hat, you're probably going to need about 160 yards to finish the hat, 165. Now I did not finish the scarf. I did not complete the whole scarf because I wouldn't wear it, but remember, I do show you how to do it. You're going to need a good, probably about 400 yards to make a nice size scarf for that. So remember, about 165 for the hat and about 400 for the scarf. And then for the hook, I'm using a size J, which is a 6mm crochet hook. Now this hat works well for both man and woman. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start out with a slip knot on our hook. And we're going to work a chain of 4. And you can do the magic circle here if you prefer. But I'm going to chain 4, and then we're going to slip stitch back into the first chain to form a ring. So I like to go into it, throw my tail over, I use my middle finger, and I put it between the hook and the chain, and then I do my slip stitch. That way it holds that center circle open a little bit more, so it makes it easier to work in. So I'm going to chain 1, which does not count as a stitch. It doesn't count as a stitch here or for the rest of the pattern. So what we're going to do is we're going to be working through the center of the ring, and we're going to work 12 double crochets. We're going to yarn over, and we're going to go in the ring and draw up a loop, and then we're going to go ahead and work our double crochet. And we want to do that 12 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I've made it to the end of row 1, and round 1. You should have a total of 12 double crochets here, and you want to end by slip stitching into your first double, not your chain 1, because remember, that doesn't count as a stitch. We're going to go into our first double crochet, slip stitch it, and that will end the round. Now if you pull your tail, it'll close up that circle a little bit more, and then later on we can just sew it up the rest of the way at the end. Okay, so now we're going to start round 2. We're going to chain 1, which does not count as a stitch. Now we're going to go back and we're going to be working front post double crochets. So we're not going to be working in the top of the stitch, we're going to be working around the post of the stitch. So we're going to do our first one here. Now the first one's always a little tricky because it has the chain 1 and the double crochet. You see that? So this right here is the chain 1 and this right here is the double crochet. We're going to go around both of those. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to go around the post of both of those, and then we're going to do a front post double crochet like that. And now we're going to do another front post double crochet in the same spot. So we're doing 2 front post double crochets around that same stitch like that. And now we're going to work around and we're going to put 2 front post double crochets around every stitch. So here's the next stitch, we're going around the post of it. There's once, and then we're going to do front post double crochet around the same post again. That's 2 like that. Now we're going to go up to the next stitch and we're going to do 2 front post double crochets around the post of that stitch. So row 2 is 2 front post double crochets around the post of every single stitch until we get back to our starting point. Just like that. All right, I'm coming to the end of round 2 and you should have a total of 24 front post double crochets, and we're going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into our first one right here. Okay, now we're going to start row 3, so we're going to chain 1 and again we're going to work front post double crochets again, but we are going to work 1 front post double crochet around this first stitch. And remember, the first one is always the tricky one because you have that chain 1 there and the post, so we just yarn over and we go around both of those and do our front post double crochet. So we're only going to work 1 front post double crochet in that stitch, and then the next stitch right here, this front post double from the previous row, we're going to do 2 front post double crochets around that one. So there's 1 and there's 2, and that's going to be the repeat for round 3. The next stitch, we're going to do 1 front post double crochet around it, just 1. And then the next one, we're going to do 2 front post double crochets around the post of that one. And then again, 1 front post double crochet around the next one. And then the next one will be 2 front post double crochets around that one. And that's the pattern I'm going to be repeating for round 3. 1 front post double crochet and then 2 front post double crochets. 1 front post and then 2 front post all the way around until I make it back to my starting point. Alright, so I've made it to the end of round 3, and your last stitch you should have had 2 front post double crochets in it, and now you should have a total of 36 stitches all the way around, and we're going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into our first stitch here to end that round. And now we're going to begin round 4. We're going to chain 1. We're going to start off, we're going to be doing front post double crochets again. So our first one, remember, we always have the chain 1 and the post that we have to go around. So we're going to do 1 front post double crochet, go around the chain 1 and the post, and do your front post double crochet. And then the next stitch, you gotta kind of maybe pull your post apart to see, but the next one we're just going to do 1 front post double crochet around that one, and then the next one we'll put 2 front post double crochets around that one. So there's 1 and there's 2, and that will be the repeat for round 4. We'll do 1 front post double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So 1 front post here, front post double into the next, and then the next one will be 2 front post doubles into the same stitch here. Again, 1 front post double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. There's 1, and then 1 in the next, and then 2 front post double crochets into the next. So I'm going to repeat the pattern of 1 front post double, 1 front post double, and then 2 front post doubles, all the way around until I make it back here to the end of round 4. All right, I've made it to the end of round 4, and your last stitch here should have had 2 front post double crochets in it, and now you should have a total of 48 stitches. So we're going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into our first one, and we'll begin round 5 by chaining 1, and again we're going to be doing some front post double crochets. So our first one here, we're going to do 1 front post double crochet. Remember, you got to go around that chain 1 and the post stitch on the very first one here. And then we're going to do a front post double crochet into the next stitch. And then we're going to do a front post double crochet into the next stitch. So that was 3 front post double crochets there that we did in a row. And now the next stitch is going to be 2 front post doubles into the same stitch. And that'll be the repeat for round 5. So 1 front post double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then the next one we'll put 2 front post double crochets around the same stitch. And this is what we're going to repeat all the way around. So 1 front post double into the next 3, and then 2 front post doubles into the next, all the way around until we get to the end of round 5. Alright, so I've made it to the end of round 5, and again your last stitch should have 2 front post double crochets, and you should have 60 stitches now. And we're going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into our first stitch. Now let's pull that up a little bit, and now we're going to do a measure because this is going to be the crown of our hat. Now it's going to be a bit smaller than what I would normally do the crown of a hat, but that is fine because it will work out correctly, hopefully. So mine's measuring about 5 inches right now, so that's about what you want, 5, 5 1/4, something like that. Yours to measure, and then we'll go ahead and begin round 6. Alright, for round 6 we are going to chain 1. Round 6 is actually going to start the repeat rows, and you're always going to have 60 stitches from now on. So we're going to go ahead and go back into this very first stitch, and we're going to work a single crochet into it, and then we're going to work a double crochet into the next stitch. We're just going into the top, we're not doing post stitches right now, so just a regular double crochet. And that's what we're going to repeat now for round 6. Single crochet into the next stitch, and then double crochet into the next. Single crochet into the next stitch, and then double into the next. So we're going to do this single crochet, double crochet, repeat all the way around until we get back to our starting point. Single, double, single, double, single, double. And I'll meet back up with you at the end of round 6. Alright, I've made it to the end of round 6. It's okay if your work's slipping up, and it's probably going to take quite some rows before it even starts to resemble a hat. So you should have 60 stitches now, and your last stitch should have been a double crochet. So what we're going to do is end this round by slip stitching into our first single crochet here. And then we'll go ahead and start round 7. Now round 7 is very similar, but it's going to be done opposite. So we're going to chain 1. Now the last round we started with a single crochet. This time we're going to start with the double. So we're going to put a double right there in that very first stitch here that we just slip stitched into. And then we will single crochet into the next. And then double into the next. And single into the next. So as you can see, if you look at the previous row, whenever there is a single crochet, you're going to put a double crochet on top of it. And then whenever there's a double crochet on the previous row, you're going to put a single crochet on top of it. So it's the same, a double crochet, a single crochet repeat that we just did, but just done opposite. We started with the double this time instead of a single. So I'm going to keep doing my single crochet, a double crochet all the way around until I get to the end of round 7. Alright, so I made it to the end of round 7, and this time I ended in a single crochet since I began the round in a double. I still have my 60 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into my first stitch here. We'll go ahead and start round 8, and we're going to repeat kind of what we've been doing. We're going to chain 1, and since the previous round we started with a double, now we're going to start with a single for round 8. So we're going to go back into the same spot here that we just slip stitch into and single crochet, and then we're going to double crochet into the next, single crochet and double crochet. So single double for round 8 all the way around until we make it back to our starting point. Alright, I've made it to the end of round 8. This time I ended in a double crochet because I began with a single, 60 stitches still. So I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into that first stitch there to end that round. And then I'm going to start round 9 by chaining 1. And this time I'm going to start with a double crochet into the first stitch and single into the next, double into the next, and single into the next. And we're going to repeat this pattern all the way around until I get back to my starting point. So it's the same thing we've been doing. Remember, wherever on the previous row, if you see a single crochet, a double needs to go into that stitch, and then if you see the double crochet, a single needs to go into that stitch. So double single all the way around, and I'll meet back up with you in just 1 second. Alright, I've made it to the end of round 9. I ended with a single crochet. It's 60 stitches still. I'm going to slip stitch into my first stitch there. I'm going to start round 10 by chaining 1, and this time I'm going to start this round with a single crochet. So I'm going to repeat what we've been doing: single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, double crochet all the way around. This is round 10 that we're on now. Single crochet, double crochet, repeat until I make it back to my starting point. Alright, I made it to the end of round 10. I ended in a double crochet, and I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into my first single. And now I'm going to start round 11. So that was 5 rows total that we did of that single crochet, double crochet, repeat. We just made each row was like opposite each other. So now we're going to start round 11, or yeah, round 11. We're going to chain 1. We're going to go back into that very first stitch and we're going to do a double crochet. And round 11 is just going to be 1 double crochet in every stitch. Just a regular double crochet in the top of every stitch all the way around until we get back to our starting point. Oops. Just like this. So I'm going to work around putting 1 double in every stitch, and I'll meet back up with you when I make it to the end of the row. Alright, so I've made it to the end of round 11 and I still have my 60 stitches, so I'm going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into my first double crochet there. Start round 12. We're going to chain 1. Now we're going to be working front post double crochets again like we did up here, except for we won't be doing any increasing. So remember, the first one, you always have to go around that chain 1 and the double crochet. So I'm going to do a front post double crochet, and I'm going to work a front post double crochet around every single stitch all the way around. So this is round 12 that we are on right now. And I'm just going to go around working 1 front post double crochet in every stitch until I make it back to my starting point. Just like that. Alright, I'm coming to the end of round 12. I still have my 60 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into my first stitch there. And for round 13, I'm just going to repeat what I just did on round 12. So I'm going to chain 1 and front post double crochet. Remember, this first one, you got to go around the chain 1 and the double. And then I'm going to work a front post double crochet around every stitch all the way around until I make it to the end of round 13. So round 13 is just a repeat of round 12. Just like that. Alright, I've come to the end of round 13 and I am going to end by slip stitching into my first stitch. 60 stitches still. Now that is where my repeat ends. So I'm going to start again with round 6 and repeat it all the way again until round 13 one more time. So you start up here at round 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 8 row repeats. And that is where I'll meet back up with you. So remember, round 6 is where we started the front post, or I'm sorry, we started the single crochet, double crochet, repeat. So this is what we'll do for round 14. We're just going to start a repeat of round 6. And we're going to repeat 6 through 13 one time total. And I'll meet back up with you when we get that all repeated to get some length on our hat. Alright, so I have finished repeating row 6 through 13 again, and I just went ahead and ended in a slip stitch there. And normally I would do a row of single crochet to finish it off, but I think I'm just going to leave it the way that it is. So I'm going to go ahead and clip my yarn here and tie it off and hide any remaining tails. Of course, you can make it longer if you want. You can add a brim in and then it would be like a slouchy or whatever, if you like that. That is entirely up to you. It would look good either way. But I want to go ahead and hide any remaining tails that you have. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Alright, so there's the hat. It's pretty cool. I like it. I'm going to wear it, keep it for myself. Now I'm going to show you how to make a matching scarf. I'm not going to make the entire scarf because I won't wear it, but I will show you how you can do it. So you want to go ahead and start off with a slip knot on your hook. All right, so you can make the width of your scarf any width that you like. I usually tend to do my scarves between 6 and 8 inches, but that's, you know, that's up to you. I'm going to show you on a little smaller scale. But you can chain in any number of stitches as long as it's an even number. So however thick you want it, the width wise, chain an even number of stitches. Once you get that done, we're going to do a single crochet in the second stitch from our hook. Remember, we never count the one that's on our hook, like that. And then we're going to work across, and we're going to put one single crochet in every stitch for the length of the chain. So this will be row 1. One single in every stitch until you get to the end of the row. All right, when you make it to the end of row 1, you should have an odd number of stitches now. So however many chains you started out with, you will have one less, and it should be an odd number since you started out with an even number. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start row 2. Row 2 will start the repeat rows of the scarf. So we will chain 1 and turn our work. We're gonna go right back into this very first stitch and put a double crochet. And then we're going to work across, and we're going to put one double crochet into every stitch until we get to the end of the row. So row 2 is just one double in each stitch until you get to the end. All right, when you make it to the end of the row, you should have the same number of stitches that you did on row 1. You'll always have the same number of stitches. Now we're going to begin row 3. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Now we're going to start off with a regular double crochet into the very first stitch. And then we're going to work a front post double crochet into every stitch until we get to our last stitch of the row. Just like this. So one front post double crochet in every stitch across until you get to your very last stitch, and I'll meet back up with you when we get there. All right, when you make it to your last stitch of your row, just go ahead and put a regular double crochet into the top of it, not a front post, just a regular. And now we'll end row 3 like that. And then we're going to start row 4. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Now we're on the back side of our work, and we're going to start off by putting a regular double crochet into the very first stitch. And now, since we're working in back and forth rows versus working in a round like we did on the hat, now this time we have to do back post double crochets. So we're going to do one back post double crochet in every stitch until we get to our last stitch of the row. Back posts, they're not hard, they're just awkward, but once you get the hang of it, you'll be able to do them rather quickly. So I'm going to continue along working one back post double crochet in every stitch until I make it to the very last stitch of my row, and that's where I'll meet back up with you. All right, I'm coming to the end of row 4, and I've made it to my last stitch. I'm just going to go ahead and put a regular double crochet into the top of that last stitch. That'll end row 4. And now we will start row 5 by chaining 1 and turning our work. And now you can see this is the front side of our work. It's okay if your work's kind of flipping and being curly. Post stitches do that. They'll straighten out once we get more rows on it. So by working those back posts, and when you flip it back around to the front, now it's all front posts like it's supposed to, like, so it matches the hat. So for row 5, we're going to start off by putting a single crochet into the very first stitch, like that, and then a double crochet into the next. So we're going to be working our single crochet, double crochet repeats all the way until we get to the end of the row. Single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, and double crochet, single, double, until we get to the end of row 5. All right, so once you make it to the end of a row 5, you should have ended in a single crochet. So for row 6, we're going to chain 1 and turn, and now we're going to start out with a double crochet into the very first stitch, and then single crochet into the next, and double crochet into the next. So it's the same thing that we did on the hat. Single crochet into the next, double crochet into the next. Whenever we whenever we see a double crochet on the previous row, that means we need to single crochet into it. And then when we see a single crochet on the previous row, that means we need to double crochet into it, just like the hat. So I'm going to do my single crochet, double crochet repeat until I get to the end of the row. Alright, I've made it to the end of row 6, and you should have ended in a double crochet. So row 7, we're going to chain 1 and turn, and now we're going to start with a single crochet this time. Single crochet into the first stitch, and double crochet into the next, single crochet, and double crochet, single crochet, and double crochet all the way to the end of your row. Alright, I made it to the end of row 7, and I ended in a single crochet. We're going to go ahead and start row 8 by chaining 1 and turning our work. And again, this time we're going to start with a double crochet into the very first stitch, and then we're going to do our single crochet, double crochet repeats until we get to the end of the row. Single, double, single, double, all the way till we get to the end of row 8. Okay, I made it to the end of row 8. My last stitch was a double. Now we're going to do row 9 by chaining 1 and turning, and we are going to start off with the single crochet this time. Single into the first, and double into the next. Single and double, single and double, all the way until you get to the end of the row. Alright, I made it to the end of row 9. My last stitch there was a double crochet, and that ends the repeat. So you're just going to repeat rows 2 through 9 until you get your scarf as long as you want it to be. So for row 10, you're just going to repeat row 2, which is chain 1 and turn, and it's a straight double crochet row all the way across, 1 double crochet in every stitch. And then when you get to the end of the row, you'll turn, and then you will do your front post double crochet row. And then when you get to the end of that, you'll turn and you'll do your back post double crochet row. And then you'll do your 5 rows of alternating single crochet, double crochet repeats. So it's just like the hat, only you're kind of just working back and forth. I'd say the only difference is that back post there at the end. And so just keep repeating rows 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the 8 row repeat until you get it as long as you want it to be.